Hi, I'm Maddie. Welcome to or back to my channel, and for today's video I'm going to be sharing what you should be watching on Netflix in 2021. These are all going to be TV shows because I just do not have the patience for movies anymore. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get on with the video. My first recommendation is All American. I know that this show received a lot of hype a couple of years ago, but it is still such a good show. Now, they are currently airing episodes on the CW, but once they finish a season, it automatically uploads on to Netflix. But I cannot stress how amazing this show is. It's all about Black culture in America today, and I just find it to be super enlightening. I will say that the first season is very focused on football, which is why I started watching the show, but there are a lot of other themes about racial justice and HBCUs and stuff like that they have started weaving more into the plot as the series has progressed. The characters are all so well developed, and I think that there are enough subplots to make it interesting and it's not predictable. Overall, if you're looking for a really entertaining show that also shares educational and important messages, this show is for you. Next is End of the Effing World. This is a very, I would call, eccentric series. It's not made like a lot of other series are today, and it features a boy and girl who run off, and it's about their adventure sort of running away from everything they know, trying to escape the police. I don't want to say too much about these because I don't want to give anything away, but it's not like scary or super suspenseful. But I found it to be a nice switch up from the types of shows that I usually watch. I know I am so late to this next one, but Outer Banks. I thoroughly enjoyed that series, and it was not what I was expecting at all. It was a lot more dark and suspenseful than I was thinking it was going to be based off all the things I had heard about it on social media. But I will say it's definitely worth the hype. A lot of series, books, and movies that are so hyped up, whenever I go to read or watch them, I just get disappointed because it usually never lives up to the hype. But I will say that Outer Banks did for me. In case you have not heard of this series, it's about the two different socio-economic classes that they say live on the Outer Banks. I'll say I've been to the Outer Banks multiple times, and I kind of see where they're coming from, but I think it is a little more diverse than what they make it out on the show. But it's about kind of their dueling rivalries, and it's essentially a big treasure hunt. Again, I don't want to say it too much, but I feel like everyone has heard of it at this point as well. Then a more sophisticated option for those of you who are into intellectual shows, The Crown is a good option. I will say that I am halfway through season 3 and kind of done with it because I'm getting bored. These episodes are so long, they're like an hour plus, and it highlights the current Queen Elizabeth's reign. The first 2 seasons were really good, but then season 3 they changed actors and actresses, and it was just such a stark jump from their younger life to their middle-aged/older life that I was just like disconnected and bored with it. I have learned a lot about Europe's history through watching the show, so again, if you're looking for a more educational option, I would recommend. Now I'm going to mention a couple super basic ones that pretty much everybody has heard of, but I still really wanted to mention them in case you haven't given them a shot yet. The first is 13 Reasons Why, which again is one of those shows that's both entertaining but spreads very strong and important messages. If you have not heard of this series, it is about a young high school girl who commits suicide, and she has tapes for each person that contributed something to her wanting to commit suicide. And the Netflix series expands on that. The first season is just like the book, but then the other 3 they expand off of it. I will say it's a very dark and heavy series, but it is very worth it. Very emotional. The series finale had me bawling my eyes out. I'm really sad that they're not making any new shows, but I'm glad that they're not stretching it out and overdoing it to the point where it's not good anymore. Then of course Riverdale, which is on too much of an extended pause if you ask me. Again, Riverdale is one of the shows where they air new episodes on the CW, but once a season is finished, they upload it on to Netflix. This is about a bunch of shenanigans that go down in a small town. The series is based off the characters in the Archie comics, However, I'm pretty sure that the plot has absolutely nothing to do with the Archie comics. My parents call it a soap opera. I do not think it's a soap opera. Riverdale was super popular for the first season, but I feel like it's been getting a lot of hate since then. I will say a lot of the things going on in the plot right now are so off the wall that it's just bizarre. But I don't know, there's something about it that just keeps me watching, and I find it to be a highly entertaining series. The next one is Black Mirror, which is such an unusual series because it's not really even a series. Each episode has its own plot, so none of the episodes are connected at all. Again, they are longer episodes. They're kind of like mini movies, but I think this is a good option if you're kind of wanting a break from the current show you're watching but don't want the commitment of starting a new show. You can just watch an episode of the Black Mirror as a palate cleanser and then go back to your show the next day. I have watched a few episodes and have found them to be really well put together and super creative. The next one, I know this is so popular, but The Vampire Diaries. Oh my goodness, I am obsessed. I watch at least one episode every single night, normally like 3 or 4. But I will say I'm halfway through season 5 and feel like they have just been stretching the plot out. So I'm hoping that it gets more entertaining because I'm just kind of like, that's a stretch. But the characters are so well developed and it reminds me so much of Twilight. The main plot here is that there are 2 brothers who are vampires that move back to their hometown, and one of them falls in love with the main character, Elena. And she gets roped into their life and she learns about like all the secrets that the town is hiding, and as the series goes on she gets more involved with their lives and everything just gets really twisted and convoluted, and they're having to find out these pieces, strike deals. There's a lot of deal making in Vampire Diaries, but it is so good, highly entertaining, and there are tons of episodes so you won't run out of content. And then there are a couple spin-off shows from the Vampire Diaries that are on Netflix. First is the Originals, which if you watch Vampire Diaries you know what that is about. It's going to detail the original vampire family. And then the next series is The Legacies, which I have not heard much about, but evidently that series is about the children of the main characters in Vampire Diaries. And I've heard the best order to watch it is Vampire Diaries, The Originals, then Legacies. Another series with a ton of content so you won't ever be running out is Criminal Minds, which is a show that I never thought that I would really be into because it's super scary, super suspenseful, and a cop show. But one of my friends recommended it to me. I watched a couple episodes, was super unsure because it was so scary, but I have been hooked and watching it a lot this summer. This is a show that I have to watch during the day. I can't watch it at night. One thing that I like about Criminal Minds is there is enough of a plot to where watching it in order is important. So whenever they reference like a previous serial killer or scenario, you know what they're talking about. But there's not so much of a plot where if you want to like multitask when you're watching it, you're not going to be out of the loop. I'm sure everyone knows the gist, but my quick little blurb is each episode, the BAU, which is the Behavioral Analysis Unit, investigates a case involving one or more serial killers in a specific area, and they use psychological behaviors and clues left at the crime scenes to discover the killer. If you like cop shows, suspenseful stuff, or if you don't like I didn't, I would still recommend giving it a try because I do think there's a little something for everyone in the series. My final Netflix recommendation, it's kind of like 3 in 1 because they're all related, and it's the iCarly Victorious Sam and Cat trio. I personally love these shows so much because I would say they remind me of my childhood, but I was actually not allowed to watch these shows as a kid because my mom didn't think that they were age appropriate. They do kind of take me back to my days of watching Disney Channel and Nickelodeon though. So if I'm ever looking for like a light, funny show, I will go to one of these. I've already watched Victorious and Sam and Cat all the way through. I'm working on iCarly. And I can't believe that they're coming out with like the 2nd edition of iCarly, and I wish that it was on Netflix and not Paramount Plus because I want to watch it, but I guess we can't have everything. I do have one more TV show recommendation for you all. It is not on Netflix, it's on Freeform, which I believe you can watch for free. There just might be some ads, and it is Shadowhunters, which I won't say it's like my all-time favorite show, but it's also kind of my all-time favorite show. If you watched my recent book recommendations video, then you would know that I am obsessed with the Shadowhunters books, and this series on Freeform is no different. The series just focuses on the first book series, but it's all about hunting demons. Again, there are vampires, there are werewolves, there are warlocks, there's all types of magical things in it, and I just think it's such a well put together series. I would say reading the books first makes the series better, but if you have the time, I would definitely recommend watching it. If you enjoyed this video with all of my Netflix recommendations for 2021, be sure to give it a thumbs up and comment down below what your favorite TV show to watch on Netflix is, because I am always looking for some new shows to try out. And while you're down there, be sure that you're subscribed and have the bell turned on. That way you'll be notified every single time either upload a new video or go live. Like I mentioned in my community tab post, I am temporarily abandoning my posting schedule, so subscribing and having the bell turned on will really help you know when I'm uploading, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast.
It's not about personality matrixels and charts. It's all about the bumps in your heart.